So, the Mustang Prince has gotten his COVID booster. Ugh, another failure. Ever since my virus started infecting the whole globe, that annoying nag has been spreading optimistic and happy messages with his YouTube blogs. And with every film being released, whether being on stream or in theaters, he gives a positive rating. And the happiness is my weakness. My bats have already spread my virus to his director and a few of his friends and loved ones. But I must break him. I must make sure that my virus kills him. And after I finish him off, there'll be no one out there to make the world happy.
Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. You know, it's been about a whole year since I looked at the Season 1 finale of Tangled the series, which was known as Secret of the Sun Drop, where Princess Rapunzel and her father, King Frederick, set aside their differences while working together in order to rescue Queen Ariana from the traitor Varian. However, while that special was very thrilling and thought-provoking, that was just the beginning. For after Varian was arrested, Rapunzel was given the encouragement to start a new journey beyond the kingdom of Corona. So, for this blog, I'm going to look at 3-hour-long special episodes in the second season of Tangled the series, also known as Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, which ran from June 24, 2018 to April 14, 2019. So, let's begin with the first special, Beyond the Corona Walls, which aired on June 24, 2018. Rapunzel has begun following the Black Rocks, and joining her on her journey is her boyfriend Eugene, her lady-in-waiting Cassandra, her best friend Pascal, Maximus the guard horse, Fidela, Cassandra's horse, Cassandra's owl, Lance Strongbow, Hookfoot, and Shorty. During this time on the road, Eugene is planning on proposing to Rapunzel again, but when Rapunzel accidentally reveals herself when he is practicing, it causes an awkward situation between the couple when Rapunzel does not give him an answer. Meanwhile, Rapunzel and the group are making their first stop in Vardaros, a city Eugene and Lance previously visited in their past, but discovered that it has become overrun with criminals. While Eugene and the boys remain in the city to gather supplies, news of Eugene's arrival quickly spreads among the citizens, including the city's leader, the Baron, a criminal kingpin who previously worked with Eugene and Lance in the past and seeks revenge. Eugene, Lance, and Shorty are quickly captured by the Baron's men and are taken to his castle, where they are met by the Baron and his daughter Stallion, Eugene's ex-fiancée. The Baron threatens Lance's life unless Eugene marries Stallion. Meanwhile, Rapunzel and Cassandra meet Adira, a mysterious warrior who harbors knowledge on the Black Rocks. But their meeting is interrupted when Hookfoot warns that Eugene has been captured. Rapunzel and the gang return to Vardaros to find Eugene, only to learn about his engagement to Stallion, leaving Rapunzel heartbroken and regretting her decision on rejecting Eugene's marriage proposal. However, after being encouraged by Cassandra, Rapunzel returns to Vardaros and stops the wedding between Eugene and Stallion, resulting in a fight breaking out. The Baron is then defeated, Lance is saved, and Rapunzel and Eugene are reunited and decide to once again hold off on their marriage. Rapunzel and the group resumed their journey, but not before receiving a scroll piece from Adira with new information on the Black Rocks. Now, in my opinion, this special was a very thrilling start for Rapunzel's second season. To me, this special, despite a bit of romantic complications, not only was pretty intense, but it does give Rapunzel's boyfriend Eugene a bit of character development. Also, I thought the wedding fight was a lot of fun. Plus, I think the town of Vardaros feels kind of unsettling due to it being overrun with bad guys. The second special in this adventure is Rapunzel and the Great Tree, which aired on March 17th, 2019. The Path of Black Rocks leads Rapunzel and her companions to the Great Tree, an ancient and magical place. There, they encounter the unpredictable Hector and discover the Moonstone magical formula. Hector proves to be a dangerous adversary to the group, and Rapunzel realizes that her only chance to save her friends is the uncontrollable Moonstone magic formula. In my eyes, this special was very interesting and thought-provoking. I found it interesting that this special takes place 6 months after Rapunzel and the gang left Corona. Plus, I think the interior of the Great Tree looks very twisted, due to it having a mysterious forest with strange, poisonous, and carnivorous plants, an armored hallway, and a room with scrolls and wall descriptions about the Sundrop and the Moonstone. Also, I like that this special gives some foreshadowing and build-up on the evil sorcerer Xantiri. And I also liked the flashback scene, which took place prior to the events of Tangled Before Ever After, showing Cassandra and Princess Rapunzel back when she still had her short brown hair. And now for the last special, Destinies Collide, which aired on April 14th, 2019. Rapunzel and the group have finally reached the end of their journey and have arrived on the outskirts of the Dark Kingdom. However, Eugene remains worried about Lord Demanitus' prophecy that someone will turn against Rapunzel, who is doubtful about the premonition, but they begin to grow suspicious of Cassandra until she apparently proves herself trustworthy. The group continues onward, but they are attacked by a masked figure. Rapunzel and Eugene fight the assassin with help from Adira, but Eugene is separated from the group when he sacrificed himself to save them. Eugene manages to survive the fall and learns that the mysterious figure is actually King Edmund, who reveals himself to be Eugene's long-lost father. Respectively, Edmund and Adira explain the history of the Dark Kingdom and the Moonstone, including the royal family's legacy of protecting the opal. While Rapunzel and the group continue to the castle, Edmund, meanwhile, begins to persuade Eugene to help him destroy the Moonstone, insisting if he doesn't, he will lose Rapunzel. Reluctantly, Eugene listens to his father and refuses to allow Rapunzel entrance into the castle. Rapunzel and the group manage to find another path through the underground tunnels, while Eugene eventually realizes his error, believing that he is the traitor from the prophecy. Rapunzel and the others enter the throne room and battle against Edmund and later reunite with Eugene. However, they find themselves in greater danger when the ghosts of the previous Dark Kings arise, determined to keep them away from the Moonstone. Edmund relents, aiding in the defeat of his ancestors, and finally allows Rapunzel, Eugene, and Cassandra to enter the Moonstone chamber. Rapunzel reaches for the opal, but suddenly Cassandra snatches it away to fulfill her destiny. Rapunzel and Eugene look on in horror, realizing Lord Demanitus' prophecy came true as Cassandra merges with the Moonstone and becomes their enemy. Now, in my eyes, this special was really, really suspenseful, and I thought it was very surprising that Eugene was, all this time, Prince of the Dark Kingdom. Also, I thought the final battle against the ghosts of the Dark Kings was really thrilling, and the ending was really shocking. Plus, I think the Dark Kingdom is kind of similar to Mordor from the Lord of the Rings books, as well as like a final level in a video game. Plus, I think it has a similar history to the Kingdom of Corona. However, instead of a sun drop, there's a moonstone. Now, let's talk about the animation. And like season 1, the hand-drawn animation feels like a living painting. And I think Rapunzel's journey to follow the Black Rocks to the Dark Kingdom feels like an epic and thrilling adventure / road trip. Kind of like in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings and Hobbit books. I also like how each special begins with flashbacks showing the events of a few previous episodes, as well as showing a prologue from 25 years ago. Plus, I think Rapunzel's caravan is a really amazing traveling vehicle during their adventures beyond Corona. I mean, it can split in two and become a boat. And I also like how the animation highlights certain side stops. For example, there's Vardaros, which was once a beautiful and lively town, having earned the reputation of being the city of fun and games, and it used to be protected by Captain Quaid the Blade. But years later, the town had been overtaken by the Baron, and the population mostly consisted of crooks and con artists. Next, there's the Great Tree, which was once a sentient being and a force for good. However, at some point, it was corrupted by the evil demon Zantiri, who made the tree her stronghold and used it to destroy anyone who approached it. Ultimately, Zantiri's reign over the Great Tree came to an end when Lord Demanitus threw a magical spear into the heart of the tree, rendering its corrupted magic dormant and forcing Zantiri to abandon it. And there's the Dark Kingdom, which was created centuries ago after the moonlight drop fell from the heavens, and it is currently the home of King Edmund, whose duty is to keep the Moonstone's power from destroying the rest of the world. Plus, I should mention that the road to the Dark Kingdom is filled with several dark, dangerous, and magical obstacles, as well as strange and bizarre characters. Now, like the first movie and several of the other Tangled episodes, the songs for this season were written by Alan Menken and Glenn Slater. And in my eyes, Alan Menken is a god when it comes to composing such wonderful Disney songs, like when he worked on songs for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. And for those who are still wondering, yes, I still enjoy his and Glenn Slater's work in Home on the Range. Bash me if you want, I do not care. Also to note, I'll never forget the time when I saw Alan Menken in concert at the Segerstrom Concert Hall. And I'm absolutely looking forward to his and Lin-Manuel Miranda's collaboration in the upcoming Little Mermaid remake in 2023. Anyway, let's talk about the songs featured in these three specials. Let's start with the songs from Beyond the Corona Walls. First is Next Stop Anywhere, sung by Rapunzel, Eugene, and Cassandra. This song expresses Rapunzel's excitement to finally be out in the world and looking forward to the adventures that await her and her friends. To me, this song is a great way to start the second season, and I think it makes a great road trip song, kind of like City of Light from the Brave Little Toaster or Movin' Right Along from the Muppet Movie. Plus, it gets a reprise at the ending of the special. Next is If I Could Take That Moment Back, sung by Rapunzel and Eugene. During the song, following Eugene's engagement to Stallion, a heartbroken Rapunzel and Eugene look back on the second proposal, expressing their regret and how they both wish they could have done things differently and changed things between them for the better. In my eyes, This song feels kind of similar to Far Longer Than Forever from the Swan Princess and shares If I Could Turn Back Time. Plus, by listening to the lyrics, it really tugs at my heart. Next we come to the Great Tree songs, starting with Buddy, which is a comedic duet sung by Eugene and Lance after getting separated from their friends and sprayed by a strange plant's poisonous pollen. During the song, they begin to hallucinate and express how much they value their lifelong friendship through hilarious yet riveting Broadway-style song and dance. In my eyes, this song is pretty weird, but it does bring back a few memorable moments, like when they turned into birds, like in the episode Freebird, or when they're in their winter clothes from Queen for a Day. Next is the Decay Incantation. Now, this Moonstone spell is opposite to the Healing Incantation that every Tangled fan knows ever since 2010. And in my eyes, this incantation, while cleverly written, is very twisted and thought-provoking, especially when Rapunzel's hair and eyes turn black. However, I thought the scene where Rapunzel uses the decay spell to defeat Hector was really intense. Next is Waiting in the Wings, which just happens to be Cassandra's first solo song in the entire series. This song is where Cassandra expresses her ever-growing tiredness and frustration over never getting the chance to prove herself, and she longs to finally prove her worth, no longer wanting to be sidelined or overshadowed, which to me makes Cassandra a very relatable and understanding character. Also to note, this song won a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Original Song in a Children's, Young Adult, or Animated Program in July of 2020. This completed Alan Menken's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, or EGOT set. And now for the songs from Destinies Collide, starting with You By My Side, which is sung by Rapunzel, Eugene, and Cassandra as they come to the end of their journey to the Dark Kingdom. To me, this song feels really epic, and I like the determined and excitable feeling that the gang feel while singing. Plus, a couple of the verses do kind of foreshadow the future of what may be awaiting for them. The last song to talk about is Everything I Ever Thought I Knew, which just happens to be Eugene's first solo song. This song is where Eugene expresses his doubt and uncertainty, feeling as though he doesn't know who he is anymore after discovering the truth about his parentage and lineage. To me, this is a very heartbreaking and yet powerful song, and it kind of feels pretty similar to All I Ever Wanted from the Prince of Egypt. Plus, during the song, there's a moment that feels like something out of Kingdom Hearts, in a way. And now let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought them to life. Princess Rapunzel is voiced by Mandy Moore, who got to be in The Princess Diaries, Racing Stripes, Brother Bear 2, and Sheriff Callie's Wild West. To me, Rapunzel is still a confident, smart, tough, curious, inspiring, fun, helpful, and an incredibly talented Disney princess, especially with how she uses her hair and the way she defends herself with a frying pan. However, due to the Black Rocks finding her, she seems to have lost the ability to activate their power until she reaches the Dark Kingdom. Anyway, during her adventure, despite being afraid of where her destiny takes her, Rapunzel feels determined to unlock the mystery of her connection to the mystical Black Rocks. And of course, she learns several lessons regarding character judgment and trust. One of my favorite moments is Rapunzel's angry face, which I think might make a great reaction to the current pandemic, since it has the same name as her kingdom. Also, I think Rapunzel's traveling outfit looks absolutely awesome. Next is Rapunzel's boyfriend, Eugene Fitzherbert, voiced by Zachary Levi, best known from the Chuck TV series, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel, and the 2017 Christmas movie, The Star. In my eyes, even though I can't stand his overdone humor and sarcasm, Eugene does seem to improve as a character, and I think he gets a lot of character development throughout this season, and he does learn a few lessons regarding faith. Plus, like Bernard and Kristoff, Eugene struggles with trying to find the perfect moment to propose to Rapunzel, eventually deciding to wait until she's ready. Plus, as mentioned earlier, I found it interesting that Eugene is, in fact, the Prince of the Dark Kingdom. Next is Rapunzel's BFF and lady-in-waiting, Cassandra, voiced by Eden Espinosa, who played Pocahontas and Ariel in Disneyland's Animazement at the Fantasyland Theater from 1998 to 2001, a caroler in the Christmas Fantasy Parade, Elphaba in the Broadway musical Wicked, and she voiced Orizaba in Elena of Avalor. In my eyes, Cass has a pretty interesting but twisted role. You see, during the journey, Cass begins to feel like she's doing nothing but waiting in the wings for Rapunzel, especially when she begins to scold her friend for not trusting her decisions. However, I still think Cass is a very tough, no-nonsense, and hardcore character. Plus, I like when she reminds Rapunzel to never give up when in doubt. And I also like that Rapunzel considers her as like a big sister. However, I felt pretty scared when her arm got scorched by the decay spell, and as a result, Cass dons a suit of leftover armor and takes a more hardened facade. And I felt very shocked when she turns on her friends, takes the Moonstone to fulfill her destiny, and gains a dark, sinister look with glowing blue hair. Next is Eugene's best friend, Lance Strongbow, voiced by James Monroe Iglehart, who you may remember for playing the genie in the Aladdin Broadway musical. In my eyes, Lance is still a boastful, humorous, charming, and good-natured character. However, I didn't at first realize that he was based on Lando Calrissian from the Star Wars franchise. Anyway, during season 2, Lance gets poisoned by the Baron so that Eugene can marry his daughter Stallion, but thankfully he gets cured when Pascal gives him the antitoxin. Also, Lance falls in love with the mysterious warrior Adira, and I thought it was pretty genius when he thought of a way to defeat the Dark Kingdom ghosts by using Adira's sword to destroy their statues. Also joining Rapunzel on her adventure is Hookfoot, voiced by Jeff Ross, and Shorty, voiced by Paul F. Tompkins. Hookfoot is the younger brother of Hookhand, who, during the show, was touring the world as a pianist. In my opinion, Hookfoot is a likable and memorable character. Plus, I like that he dreams of being a dancer. Also, during the journey, Hookfoot falls in love with a mermaid named Seraphina. But after reuniting with Hookhand after the second special, he leaves the group to join him on his piano tour. As for Shorty, well, despite being in a state of drunkenness and accidentally stowing away in the food storage, I think he's a friendly character. Plus, he's shown to be surprisingly observant, and he sometimes ends up coming in handy. Next we have Rapunzel's animal friends, Pascal the chameleon and Maximus the royal guard horse. To me, these guys are really loyal and brave characters while on Rapunzel's quest, and I think they really steal the show like most Disney animal sidekicks. Plus, I like when Pascal saves Lance by stealing the Baron's antitoxin, and when he bravely calms a giant fire-breathing bug with stinkweed. Plus, Pascal outsmarts King Edmund's raven by camouflaging, And I also like when Maximus fights the Baron's henchmen using a sword, and I also like that he pulls Rapunzel's caravan with Fidela during their journey. Plus, I liked when they both worked together to save Eugene and Lance from being eaten by a carnivorous plant. Next we come to the new important characters, starting with Adira, voiced by Kelly Hu, whom I only remember from Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Adira is a member of the mysterious Brotherhood who has chosen to watch over Rapunzel and her allies while on their journey following the Black Rocks. To me, Adira is a mysterious, tough, fast, and wise character, and I think her sword and survival skills are really amazing. Also, she's revealed to have bronchitis. Plus, I also find it interesting that she's been studying the mysterious Black Rocks over the past 25 years. But after meeting Rapunzel, Adira makes it her goal to steer the princess on the right path to the Dark Kingdom. Plus, I found it interesting when Adira told the gang about the Brotherhood and the Moonstone, and that she betrayed Hector as she believed that Rapunzel will save Corona. Next up is King Edmund, voiced by Bruce Campbell, best known from the Evil Dead trilogy, The Ant Bully, Disney's Sky High, and Cloudy the Chance of Meatballs. This character is the king of the Dark Kingdom, and he's Eugene's long-lost father. In my opinion, I think King Edmund has got to be a real badass of a king, and I think he's one of the most interesting and well-built-up characters during the show so far. You see, Edmund comes from a long line of monarchs and warriors that have sworn to protect the world from the Moonstone Opal. However, not too long after Eugene was born, Edmund grew tired of the damage caused by the Moonstone, and he tried to destroy it once and for all. However, upon doing so, not only did Edmund lose his right arm, but the Dark Kingdom was nearly destroyed in a catastrophic event that killed his beloved wife. Riddled with guilt and determined to keep his surviving subjects safe, Edmund ordered for a kingdom-wide evacuation while he stayed behind to keep the stone's magic out of the wrong hands. Also, Edmund has been sending his ravens to watch over Eugene after he was sent to an orphanage. And even though said ravens have lost track of him, they brought back Eugene's childhood toys and wanted posters to comfort Edmund. Plus, I think it's pretty interesting that Edmund's most trusted warriors, known as the Brotherhood, consisted of Adira, Hector, and Varian's father, Kieran. And I thought it was awesome when he helps the group defeat the ghosts of his ancestors. Next we have Vex, voiced by Britt Robertson, whom has been in Scream 4, Disney's Tomorrowland, and last year's I Still Believe. Vex is a selfish and sneaky young girl from Vardaros who attempted to sell out Eugene to the Baron. Thankfully, she ends up helping Rapunzel sneak into the wedding. However, despite becoming friends with the group and becoming Quaid's deputy, she does not really care much for Rapunzel's cheery nature. Next we come to the antagonist characters, starting with Anthony the Weasel, voiced by Gideon Emery. This guy is the loyal servant of the Baron, who is ruthless and cruel. Not to mention, very, very threatening. Also, I should mention that Anthony previously appeared in 2 episodes during Season 1. One being The Return of Strongbow, where viewers were introduced to Lance, and the second being Big Brothers of Corona, where he was sent by the Baron to capture 2 little girls named Angry and Red, aka Kiera and Catalina Schnitz, who in this season make an appearance in Vigor the Visionary. Plus, Anthony makes a couple more appearances in later episodes, like The Return of Quaid and Peril on the High Seas with Lady Kane, the the Stabbington brothers, and other old enemies. Next we have the Baron, voiced by Lance Henriksen, whom I remember as Kerchak from Disney's Tarzan, and he also got to be in James Cameron's Terminator. This guy is a legendary crime lord whom Eugene and Lance used to work for years ago. He is mentioned a couple times throughout season 1, and he has apparently held a grudge against Eugene and Lance for abandoning his team. However, he finally makes a physical appearance in season 2, where he attempts to force Eugene to marry his daughter Stallion by poisoning Lance. In the end, the Baron is poisoned by his pet Kai Spider due to Shorty's clumsiness. Next is the Baron's daughter and Eugene's ex-girlfriend, Stallion, voiced by Yvonne Strahovski, whom was also in the Chuck TV series. She genuinely believes that she and Eugene belong together, and she tries to force him to marry her by poisoning Lance. This fails as Rapunzel rescues them, and Stallion is forced to carry her defeated father away. To me, Stallion is very loyal to her father, plus, she's very convincing and scheming. Also, she hates Eugene's real name and prefers to call him Flynn Rider. However, I did find it interesting when later in the episode The Eye of Pincosta, she and Rapunzel team up together to retrieve a diamond known as the Eye of Pincosta from Mr. Goodberry in order to save Eugene from jail. Also, Stallion gains a change of heart after reading a letter that Rapunzel wrote to her, encouraging her that there is always good in everyone. And finally, we have Hector, voiced by Kim Coates. Hector is a villainous warrior and the most dangerous and sadistic member of the Brotherhood, sworn by King Edmund's wish to keep all travelers away from the Dark Kingdom, especially when he's willing to risk the danger of the Great Tree's power in order to use the spear against Rapunzel and her friends. However, Hector does have a bit of conscience and a caring side, and he was aware of the possible consequences of taking Demonitus' spear out of the heart of Xantiri's tree. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Season 2 of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure was a really epic, fun, dark, twisted, intense, and thought-provoking season in this timeless Disney TV show. The animation is still great, the songs are amazing. Also, I like that Rapunzel and a few of her friends learn several lessons and get some character development while on their quest. Plus, I think the trip they take is a really exciting adventure and road trip, and I like that it gives foreshadowing and build-up for things to come. Also, I think each of the 3 specials are really daring and fun to watch. So, I give Beyond the Corona Walls a 95%, Rapunzel and the Great Tree a 98%, and Destinies Collide a full 100%. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, I will blog the 3rd season, but that'll have to wait until maybe next year, I hope. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next time where we look at Disney's 60th animated movie, Encanto. Mustang Power.